Last night, Dr. Hefner gave a presentation at Taylorsville Elementary School in the gym about what would happen with the students and what all was going on with Taylorsville Elementary School. It was the same presentation basically that was given Monday night at the commissioners meeting if you were able to attend that. I am going to post a picture of each one of the slides that were given in the presentation. It's very informative. I know that it's really long if you try to watch the whole thing. Monday's night meeting was almost 3 hours, so this is a brief go over of how things went. It was very informative, and she did a really good job with the presentation. Here we go. Each family that attended the meeting last night was given a packet with a copy of the slides that she was presenting, which was really convenient. It was a lot easier to keep up with than Monday night's meeting. Budget discussions 2014-2015. The first slide she presents is on budget discussions. Each one of the bullets I'm going to read in case you can't see them. I apologize that the font is so small, but she has here use of fund balance, loss of funding for teacher assistants, loss of revenue in the child nutrition program, funding needed for technology, loss of funding for assistant principals, declining enrollment and loss of funding, facility issues at Taylorsville and Sugarloaf, need to transition alternative learning program to a day program, concern about school-based administrator salaries, classified staff salary schedules, facility needs at Bob Gratter Baseball Stadium, facility issues with railing at the high school football stadium, system benefits for a GPS tracking system for school buses. Next are budget discussions, 2015-2016 school year. She pointed out that many of the needs that were in the 2014-2015 list are also present on the following year. Beginning with the first bullet, rapid and continual use of fund balance. Reduced work schedule for teacher assistants / classified 10-month employees. Loss of revenue in the child nutrition program. In parentheses, it says audit documented $150,000 had to be supplemented from the fund balance. Next, projected cost for technology devices. In parentheses, it says leases. Next, need for additional assistant principals at the elementary level. Declining enrollment and loss of funding. Facility issues at Taylorsville and Sugarloaf Elementary Schools. Projected cost for ALP building, in parentheses, it says $781,000 to be paid from the half-cent sales tax funds. Next, concern about school-based administrative salaries, in parentheses, it says shared supplement levels provided in neighboring systems. Next, need for more nurses and school social workers. Classified positions becoming harder and harder to fill due to lower salary levels. Expansion needed for parking at Bethlehem and Hidnight Elementary Schools. Facility issues at Bob Gratter Baseball Stadium, in parentheses, it says discussed cost. Next, HVAC and roof cost projections for all schools, in parentheses, based on 2014 facility study. Dr. Hefner's next slide is what is fund balance? The best definition for fund balance is a school system savings account. It is really intended for one-time expenditures, not as a continual funding source. Down to the bullets, it says $4,170,119 projected balance on June 30th, 2016. Next, $692,151 of fund balance this year to balance our budget. Next, 3.13 years of fund balance remaining at this rate of use. Next, and finally, it says health of our fund balance in 2014 is not the concern at this time. The most alarming issue at present is the rate at which it is being used. Over the past 4 years, nearly $2 million has been used to maintain staff and programs in our 10 schools. We have to find a way to reduce the amount we are using. The next slide says additional points about funding. 62% of our total budget comes from the state. State funding has been reduced because of cuts the legislature has made in declining enrollment. We have tried to reduce spending to make up for cuts by the legislature. Declining enrollment is a problem because state funding is based on the number of students we have in our school system. We have lost students, and our largest source of funding has been reduced. When we lost state funds, we had to move expenses to the local budget. The expenses in the local budget were greater than the money we received, and we had to use our savings, and in parentheses it says fund balance. Our fund balance is getting low, and we have to look for additional savings before fund balance gets too low for us to pay our expenses. The next slide says critical decisions to be made, and there are 4 bullets. The first one says, bankrupt the system's fund balance with continued usage rates. Next, cut $700,000 in staff from the system. Next, look for alternative ways to capture $700,000 in recurring funds. In parentheses, it said, ask county commissioners for $980,724 in 2015 and receive $381,900. And the last says, consider closing a school. The next slide says facility needs at Taylorsville. There are 2 columns, and Dr. Hefner looked at in the board, renovation of the gym versus replacement of the gym. Again, this was a paper that was given to her. She didn't come up with the number. This was an estimate provided to her by the person that was looking at either renovating it or replacing the gym. At the top left-hand corner, it says, add a new entrance to the school, renovate and expand the administration area, replace 2 classrooms, and add a new kitchen and renovate the dining area. The next column says gym, below that roof replacement cost, and below that it says HVAC/mechanical. Now, adding up both of these columns, and as far as cost, the first column on the left of renovation of the gym, the total cost was $3,054,300. That was for renovation. Replacement of the gym, which is to knock it down and build a whole new gym, the figure was $3,200,300. The next slide Dr. Hefner covers is about the schools, the year that they were built, additions to the schools, the capacity of how many students they can hold, and their current enrollment. Now would be a good time to pause the video, and hopefully you can see it a little better than I can because it's so small it's really difficult to read. The next slide says she's talking about if the closure goes through, people are wondering where are these children going to go, and so they're coming up with lines of how they're going to divide where these children go. I listed this first slide on here in front of the maps because I think it'll make a little bit more sense watching it this way since you don't have a paper in front of you. But it says this proposal uses 2 dividing lines. The first line is using US 64/90 and North Carolina Highway 16 South. Second, we would be using US Highway 6490 and Lyledale Road. Both include adding Carson Chapel and the remainder of Rocky Springs Road to Hiddenite. It gives you the numbers of how this is going to affect enrollment at the schools. If they use Highway 16 South as a border, Ellendale will have 75 children. Sugarloaf will have 109. Wittenberg will have 59, and Hidnight will have 38. Using Lyledown Road as a border, Ellendale will gain 30 children. Sugarloaf will have 109. Wittenberg will gain 104, and Hidnight will have 38. Currently, we have 40, I think it says 46 fifth graders who will transition as follows. Ellendale will have 6, Wittenberg 7, Hidnight 2, and Sugarloaf will have 31. Children in the Taylorsville district attending other schools currently. There is a chart that lists the schools that children are attending, followed by all of the base schools of these children as Taylorsville Elementary, and then it has the total number of students that are attending different schools. First, it says Bethlehem. Children attending Bethlehem, there are 6 children from Bethlehem, 23 going to Ellendale, 14 going to Hidnight, 8 going to Stony Point, 26 going to Sugarloaf, 18 going to Wittenberg, for a total of 95 students that are currently attending other schools where their base school should be Taylorsville. The next slide says demographics of our elementary schools. Now would be a good time, if you would like to read this, to pause the video so you can read what all it says. On the left-hand column, it lists each one of the schools, and then on the top row, it has all the races that have been on here. Asian, African American, Pacific Islander, etc. And you can read what that is for each one of the schools. The next slide says projected cost savings if Taylorsville is closed. Now would also be a good time for you to go ahead and pause the video so that you can look through. On the left-hand column, it says positions, and you can go down through there. There's custodian, receptionist, bookkeeper, teacher, teacher's assistants, counselors. If you go on through there, it has total annual cost for those positions, and then an estimated total savings, which it looks to be, again, this is really small, but it looks like it's over $500,000 a year that will be saved if Taylorsville Elementary is closed. Independent Consolidation Study. The Facilities Committee plans to make a formal proposal to the Board of Education on Tuesday, May 10th, 2016 to schedule an independent consolidation study through the Department of Public Instruction in Raleigh. If approved, a team of 7 engineers will research and make notes pertaining to all 10 of our facilities in Alexander County. The cost of the study will include lodging, meals, and travel for the team. A recommendation to the Board of Education will be provided after the research is done and data is compiled. What happens if a decision is made to close Taylorsville? Relocation meeting for parents would be scheduled. In parentheses, it says school assignments, bus assignments, drop-off/pickup times provided, etc. Next, open house and tour plans for students and their parents at the new schools. 21st Century Learning Program relocated to a school with greatest need. In parentheses, it says students could be bused to this site if we had enough funding in the grant. Next, 2 self-contained EC classes would be assigned to 2 neighboring schools, which would be Hidnight and Ellendale. Next, possible relocation of the North Carolina pre-K class. Next, redistribution of staff based on student numbers and staff request. In parentheses, it says professional development if needed. The next slide says declining enrollment that has resulted in decreased funding for all areas of funding. There is a bar graph there that you can look at. And again, if you want to look at it closer, it would be a good time to pause the video, and I will go on to the next slide. It says other challenges. Public schools are required to provide opportunities for all children. Every child in this system is important, regardless of the facility they are housed within. Pre-K classes, elementary, middle, high school classes, alternative learning program classes, or early college classes. Our Board of Education and I, which would be Dr. Hefner, since this is by her, know that we don't address our decreased resources and loss of funding, that if we don't address our decreased resources and loss of funding, we will not be able to provide all children the educational experiences they deserve. We have the needs right now that we cannot fulfill. In parentheses, it says additional nurses and social workers, additional assistant principals, expansion of learning experiences such as STEM academics, etc. Dr. Hefner then presented several slides of newspaper articles from newspapers in North Carolina to illustrate that we are not alone in Alexander County, that this is becoming very prevalent throughout our state. She had a quote by Andy Grove that said, "Bad companies are destroyed by crisis. Good companies survive them. Great companies are improved by them." And again, this is a consolidation of all the information that was presented by Dr. Hefner at the relocation meeting that was presented to the parents at Taylorsville Elementary School. And again, a lot of this was the same information that was presented at the county commissioners meeting on Monday. I encourage you, if you have any questions, any comments, to contact Dr. Hefner. She has provided her email address, which is, it's all one word, jhefner@alexander.k12.nc.us. And the phone number to her office is 828-632-7001. And I would also like to thank her for doing an excellent job with presenting facts to the county residents. I hope that you all, if you have the opportunity, will go back, and you can go to YouTube and find the county commissioners meeting. If you put in the search engine Alexander County, North Carolina County Commissioners meeting, and they should be listed by the date. You can watch her whole presentation that she gave to the county commissioners, as well as for the next 3 days. You can find video of the meeting with parents at Taylorsville Elementary School, and the channel on that, it's all one word, is MomBird25, that was broadcasted by Nikki Oram. I hope that this will help you all consolidate, save a little bit of time, and again, thanks to Dr. Hefner for providing the information. Again, I want to say that we are not representatives of the school. We are not employed by the school. I'm just a parent of a child or children in Alexander County. I am putting slides up that were given to the public at the parents' meeting at Taylorsville Elementary School, and I have just read what they have said. Hoping that we can have more county involvement and involvement with the parents, so hopefully that we can save all of our schools in the county. Have a blessed day.